Hey guys, Murphy's Opinions here, and today I'm coming at you with my review for You Only Live Twice, released in 1967, directed by Lewis Gilbert. And before we get into the review, I just want to say quickly, in terms of these reviews, James Bond reviews, I literally just want to get through all of these as quickly as I can. That's why I'm not really doing any other videos on this channel yet. However, when I get those done, I will try and do other types of videos on this channel, but I really just want to get all these Bond reviews done, so hence why there's just James Bond reviews on the channel at the minute. That will change once I get all of these done, which might be a while, but it's just I just don't want to leave this to like be just to not be finished. So I just want to get these done. So anyway. So let's get into the review of You Only Live Twice. One thing that I want to note here, the screenplay for this film. I don't usually talk about the people who write the screenplay, but I thought this one was quite interesting. It's actually written by Roald Dahl, who wrote a lot of like books, such as like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the BFG, those sort of books, which I thought was interesting because he was someone who I read a lot of his books when I was a kid, so I thought that was quite interesting. He also wrote a James Bond film, the screenplay for it, which I thought was something. It was quite interesting. It was strange to see because you wouldn't necessarily think that Roald Dahl would write like a spy screenplay, but he did. And anyway, so let's get on to what the plot of You Only Live Twice is. So basically, there's basically a Jupiter 16 US space capsule goes missing, and it's captured, and it's it's orbiting the Earth by a strange rocket ship, and that creates conflict between the US and the Soviet Union. And then basically Britain believes that there may be there's something mysterious kind of around the Sea of Japan. So basically what they do is they hatch a plan to pretend to kill off James Bond in Hong Kong, and they send him to Japan to find out more information. So there he meets Tanaka, and he gives him some kind of information about, he basically when he goes to Japan, James finds that there's evidence that a major chemical company is basically smuggling liquid oxygen for rocket fuel, and basically Tanaka's investigation leads to an extinct volcano where there's like a space hijacking. Where the Soviet spacecraft is grabbed by the alien rocket, and basically in this lair, it's actually where Spectre is, and we finally meet Ernst Stavro Blofeld, who is in the other films, but we actually get to see his face because in the other films, from Doctor No onwards, we hear his voice. In other films, like from Russia with Love, we see like his figure. We see him stroke the cat, but we never actually see his face. So we actually see the face reveal of Ernst Stavro Blofeld here. So let's get into the cast and how I think they all fare in this film. James Bond is played by Sean Connery once again. I definitely think this is his weakest performance as Bond. He really just looks bored a lot of the time here, and it's kind of understandable. Like, he was being bombarded with press by the Japanese press at this time because at this point the James Bond franchise was huge, and I think Connery, this was supposed to be his last film, and well, it was originally, but after On Her Majesty's Secret Service, Connery did come back for one more film, which we will review very soon. But yeah, it's just he's just very disappointing here, Connery. Definitely one of the weak aspects of this film, in my opinion. Just a real letdown, and I think, yeah, it's from after Thunderball. I think Connery's performances were just never really the same as Bond, personally. And then we got Mie Hammer as Kissy. Not a very interesting Bond girl, really. I mean, I think they should have really kept with Aki as the main Bond girl and not killed her off. And Aki is played by Akiko Wakabayashi, I believe that's pronounced. And but the reason why they did it actually was because apparently the actress who played Kiss, because originally it was supposed to be the roles, I think, were meant to be reversed. So Aki would be the love interest, Kissy, or no, I think it was originally supposed to be Aki, like being, not being killed off. But what happened was this woman who's playing Kissy, she wanted a bigger role in the film, and she threatened to like kill herself or something. So they end up having to like scramble and make Connery like basically there's this really weird bit where Connery has to like they dress him up and they make him look Japanese, which looks horrible actually. It looks really like dodgy, and basically he has to get married off, and they marry him to this person called Kissy, and then she ultimately becomes like the main Bond girl in the film, and she's just not very interesting. She doesn't really give much. There's not really much character shown throughout the film, but with Aki you actually get to see. She's actually very likable, and she's just. I think she should have been the main person. They should have married Bond off to her, like in that film, so that he can blend into the Japanese culture. Like, it wouldn't really work though, anyway, because Sean Connery's what, like over 6 foot and has a broad, like Scottish accent. There's no way, even if you dressed him up, he would look Japanese at all. But that's beside the point. And let's get on to one of the strongest aspects of this film, and that's Blofeld, played by Donald Pleasence. He originally wasn't supposed to be Blofeld. They brought in another actor whose name has slipped my mind, but they basically didn't think that he, when recording, when they were recording the film, they didn't really think that he embodied what Blofeld should be as a filming. So they brought in Donald Pleasence. They mucked about with a few different things, and then they decided to do the scarred eye. And Pleasence, I think, is the best Blofeld in terms of Blofelds that we see. I think he's definitely very sinister, very he just reeks of evil, and I really love this take on Blofeld. And there are the other couple of takes on Blofeld I think are good, but I think Pleasance was just incredibly hard to top. You've got some of the other like minor characters like Helga Brandt, played by Karen Dor. Yeah, she's okay. She's like she's one of the henchwomen. She's a henchwoman in this film. You can clearly tell that she's kind of based off like Fiona Volpe from Thunderball, but just nowhere near as good. She doesn't really have as much. She's attractive, definitely, but she just doesn't have the kind of screen presence, and she's just not as interesting as Fiona Volpe. And then you've got Tiger Tanaka, played by Tetsuro Tamba. He's actually a very likable ally of Bond. He seems like a pretty cool guy. I get those kind of vibes that he's the kind of guy that you'd want to hang out. He just seems like a really cool dude. So I quite like him in this film. And obviously you've got the MI6 regulars, M, played by Bernard Lee, Q, played by Desmond Llewellyn, and Lois Maxwell playing Miss Moneypenny. So they're all great. I think it's very rare that you actually ever see a bad performance by any of the MI6 regulars throughout the series, really. The score is done by John Barry, and once again it is good. It's very rare that I don't really think in the Bond series there's really any like bad scores. But I think this one's just quite forgettable in terms of I don't really remember many of the songs of the film, apart from I'd say the instrumental work in the main title song "You Only Live Twice" by Nancy Sinatra. I think that's really beautifully done by John Barry. I think John Barry was contributed some great scores to the series, and this is one of them. But ultimately, I think because he produced so many scores throughout the series and so many good ones, I think some of them do kind of fall under the radar. I think this is one of them, really. Another aspect, and basically, when it comes to "You Only Live Twice," I'd say there aren't that many great, memorable scenes right until near the end, really. Most of the film is just kind of showcasing Japan, really, which is cool, I guess. A lot of people may have not been, at that time, been exposed to what Japan really would look like at the time, but it can get a bit boring at times. However, I will say the best part of the entire film is when we enter the volcano. Blofeld's revealed. We see, his lair and everything. It's just some great action scenes, and just so many. It's been parodied as well in stuff like Austin Powers. So it's not just great, but it's also just iconic as well. I really do like the volcano scene. It really makes the last third of the film just really good. So overall, I'd say I do really like You Only Live Twice. Well, I didn't say I really like it. I do think You Only Live Twice is a good film. Not one of my personal favourites. I think I think there's a lot of the films in the series are better. But not to say this film is bad. I just think other films tick a lot more my personal boxes. But it's a good film. I do think you should watch this one. But a disappointing performance from Connery, though, which I think is a real shame. But anyway. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Remember to like the video, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, ars.fm, and thanks for watching, guys.